What is up? It's your boy Turnip coming at you with part 2 of my Friday the 13th the game series. This time I'll be ranking all of the counselors in the game from worst to best, as well as sharing some useful tips and strategies to help you survive the night. Keep in mind that this is all based on my experience and personal opinion. I've played over 240 hours of the game and just passed level 100. Make sure to comment down below if you disagree or agree with me on anything that I've said, but most importantly, sit back and enjoy the vid. There are 5 ways to survive the night. The first and the easiest is the phone box. The next, and I'd say second easiest, is repairing the car. But then you have the boat. Fourth is surviving the length of the match without dying, just kind of running out the clock. And the last but most difficult way is killing Jason. So starting off with the phone, you want to make this a priority very early on. It is the only way that all of the counselors can escape. You start off, first you have to find the fuse randomly throughout a drawer in the level, and then you bring it to the fuse box, fix the fuse, then you call the cops. It takes 5 minutes for them to arrive. Then they will arrive and you can run to the exit. Most people playing Jason immediately start off going to the phone. They lay a trap down, so you want to watch out for that. And if you can, try and take out that trap as early as you can so your teammates can come back later and repair the phone. Jason gets an alert every time that you step on one of his traps, unless you use a pocket knife. If you crouch down and hold A with a pocket knife next to a trap, you will sneakily ninja defuse the trap. Moving on to the car. The car is what you're going to be using mostly to escape. You need 3 things. You need a gas canister, the battery, and then also a set of keys. The blue car can hold up to 4 counselors, and the yellow car can only hold 2 counselors. Be aware too that there are normally a lot of traps around the car. Generally there's one in front of the hood, and then there is another behind the right rear tire by the gas tank. Driving the car can be kind of wonky as well. It feels like you're on an ice rink sometimes with the way the car slides around. With some practice, it becomes pretty natural though. If Jason ever stops the car, he can smash it from the front or you can back into him. It's important to just get out of the car immediately because you're not going to restart it fast enough before he can grab you. So you want to get out, get away, and come back later to escape. Behind door number 3 we have the boat. The boat is not my favorite option. It's cool, but it kind of sucks, honestly. So for the boat, you're going to need the propeller as well as a gas can. So one thing about the boat is there's only one boat ever on the map. So that means there's only one propeller on the map at all times. So you can see how it can be kind of hard to find the one lone propeller, and it's kind of a small part too. It's easy to overlook. The boat can barely outrun the majority of the Jasons, which leaves very little room for error when you're driving the boat. And once the boat is flipped, you're in the water and Jason can just insta-kill you by drowning you. On the flip side though, if you're playing against part 2, the baghead, part 4, the one with the bloody mask, or Savini Jason, the flaming hellish Jason, they all have a weakness in water speed, so definitely go for the boat in that circumstance because they will not be able to keep up with you. And for the love of God and all that is holy, do not, I repeat, do not attempt to fix the boat if you're playing against part 7 or part 8. These two here, these bimbos, are faster than greased up dolphins in the water. So just don't do it. The 4th way is pretty self-explanatory. You just survive the 20 minutes that each game lasts. You just don't get killed, and if you don't escape, you will automatically win after 20 minutes. Now, this consists of mainly just outrunning Jason, hopping in and out of houses, through windows, being kind of annoying so he can't catch up to you. Not my most favorite way to play. It's kind of boring, and I really only do it if I'm the last one alive and there's no chance of me getting something fixed or getting to the cops. Alright, so the final way to survive, the most rewarding, the funnest, most exciting way is killing Jason. It's kind of an elaborate setup. At minimum, you need at least 2 people to kill Jason. So you're going to need 1 female counselor, can be any female, and then you're going to need somebody to die or escape and come back to life as Tommy Jarvis. In the meantime, if you're waiting for Tommy to come back, you want to try to get Jason's mask off. The best way to get the mask off is with A, a machete, or B, an axe, like a wood axe. With the counselors that have more strength, you have a higher percentage of hitting the mask off earlier. So this next part's optional. If you pick up Jason's mask and you enter his shack, he won't know you're in there. He won't get that little cymbal sound that plays. I don't know what it's like, a gong. He won't hear that if you have his mask. So if you're trying to be sneaky about it, that might be a good way to get into the shack and grab the sweater. Once everything's set up, you've got the sweater, you've got Tommy. Tommy needs to get an axe or a machete. Then the sweater girl activates the sweater, stunning Jason. So once he's stunned, there's a few things you can do. You can have somebody else hit him with a high stun weapon, like a baseball bat. Or what I normally do, I just have Tommy Jarvis with the axe, and I hit him with the axe. Sometimes, though, he does not fall to his knees, which is what he should do. And that's just random. There's a chance that it will work, chance that it won't. It depends on like what kind of weapon you're using to stun him and that sort of thing. Once he's on his knees, final step, you just press the prompt that it tells you. For me, I'm on Xbox, so it's A. I think PlayStation is X, and I don't know what PC is, E or something. But you don't want to hit him again once he's on his knees. You just want to press the prompt that it tells you, and that's it. When it comes to surviving, I'd say the most important rule to evade Jason is to properly maintain your stamina. If you use it all up, you'll die pretty quickly. The walking Jasons, or the ones that can't run, those ones can be outpaced pretty easily, but the ones that do run, you can have a harder time getting away from. This is why maintaining your stamina and knowing the proper moments to sprint and not to sprint are pretty important. So the running Jasons are just slightly faster than a jogging counselor. This means that a counselor that's jogging can get a pretty good distance before Jason catches up to them. This is a good way to conserve your stamina for when you really need it. If you're getting tired, you can actually hit Jason. If you stun him, you'll get a lot of your stamina back. And this will give you ample time to find a building to hide in. Also, sprinting makes a lot of noise too, so it's easier for Jason to locate you because you'll have big sound pings following you that he can pick up on. The next important thing to maintain and understand is fear. So when your character is more afraid, they are more easily detected by Jason. They are overall just worse. They trip over things more. Their stamina recharges more slowly, and also your vision gets kind of blurry and it kind of blackens out, like you lose sight of your mini-map, and it kind of tunnels in like you have tunnel vision. So things that trigger fear are seeing Jason, seeing a dead body, Jason hitting you, stepping on one of his traps, or if the power gets cut, that makes your counselors more afraid. Keep an eye out for the power boxes around the map. If you can fix them, you can lower the fear of all your teammates. Talk about the items, like the objectives, like the keys or the fuse or the battery, etc. If you find those, try not to hold on to them for too long. With the fuse, if you can't find the phone box, just drop the fuse near the center of the map, and if somebody does know, they can grab it and go from there. If your character is dookie at repair, just drop the battery by the car or drop the gas by the car. Let somebody else do it. When you're hunting for those key items too in the houses, my rule of thumb is there's normally no more than one per house. The gas and the battery, for example, you're never going to find them both in the same house. They're going to be in the houses closest to the car. It's rare, but there are chances you could find, say, the fuse and the gas can in the same house, or like the keys in the battery, for example, one of the what I call drawer items. It's possible. It's a very low chance though. Try not to stay in one place for too long. The longer you do, it's the more likely that Jason will find you. It's really about quickly searching the houses, because the faster you can search the houses, the easier it is to escape. I'll segue that into hiding spots. So hiding spots, really not that useful. So if you plan on hiding the whole game, A, you're not helping your team. B, you are just kind of waiting to die, because once rage hits and the power gets cut, it's very easy to be found. I recommend only hiding in the early parts of the game to try and trick Jason some way. Next up on the list of things you shouldn't do, swimming. You never want to swim unless necessary. It tires you out immensely. It makes a lot of noise. The water is Jason's domain, as it were, according to the lore. And he can insta-kill you in the water, so just stay away from it unless you need to cut a corner really fast and time is of the essence. Fighting Jason is an important part in the survival process. Knocking Jason down or stunning him can provide those vital few seconds to start the car or finish the phone call. I still think that running away is the best way to survive, but sometimes it's just necessary. Try and stick together and attack in groups, because one-on-oneing Jason is never a good idea. Having a friend to back you up can release you from Jason's grasp or possibly save someone else. You could also act as a vital distraction for your other teammates. Some counselors' roles are to just be annoying and hit Jason and run away and keep him occupied while your friends are doing important things like fixing the vehicles. When you find a weapon, you want to learn how to bait a grab. And what I mean by that is getting close enough to Jason to where he tries to grab you, but he misses. That way you can sneak in for a hit. You want to be unpredictable and erratic with your movement. That way it makes you harder to track. Keep an eye on your minimap also. If Jason starts to use his shift, you can track his movements too. You can see where he's kind of slinking around and you can respond accordingly. But don't go gangbusters on him though. If everybody is just beating the shit out of him, he's going to get rage way earlier than he needs to. And if he's raging, well, you can't stun him anymore unless you shoot him with a gun or take his mask off. That's going to do it for my overall tips. Moving on. So first on our list of rankings, or should I say dead last, Tiffany. The only real reason that anyone plays as Tiffany is to look at her ass, because other than that, she has little to no viability when it comes to the game. She doesn't have many areas that she shines in. Her stamina and her speed are her two biggest strengths, being that she has one of the suckiest repairs in the game. It's really hard to survive on your own. You really have to rely on teamwork. She does have a maxed out stealth, but as I explained earlier in the video, unless it's very early in the game, stealth does little to next to nothing to prevent Jason from eventually tracking down your location. I think one of her best uses that I haven't really seen happen too much would be as an early game sweater girl. If she can get the sweater early on, coupled with that stealth, it might be a viable strategy. Besides that, there's not too much more she can offer. I kind of just end up hiding with her if it comes near the end of the game and just try to run out the clock. So definitely not my favorite. Also, in the low tier, we have Shelly. Shelly is not dead last, due to his repair being moderate to average at best. His two biggest bonuses are his stealth and strength. However, in the current meta, those aren't the most important stats, losing out quickly once Rage Mode is activated. It's a shame, too, because I really like Shelly in the movies, or the movie. He's only in part 3. He's actually, little fun fact, the character that originally gives Jason his hockey mask. I think the best way to play Shelly is to kind of act like a bodyguard, because he has a high stealth and a high strength. Early game, you can follow people around without giving them away, and also defend a weaker character that doesn't have that high of a strength. So that'd be my recommendation. Alright, so for this next spot, I was pretty conflicted who I was going to put at the bottom of the D tier, but it came out to Bugsy. As we can see here, his speed, strength, stamina, very, very strong, but everything else is pretty weak. He's the only other counselor that has 1 for repair, which is pretty unforgivable in my book because of how important it is to have a moderate to decent repair. Let me show you why. Every time you fail one of these little button presses, Jason hears that noise, and he knows that you're fixing something. So, Bugsy, this took about 40 seconds for him to put the battery in, and I failed about 3 or 4 times. So you're a sitting duck, and you're just saying, hey, I'm over here, come and get me. One thing, though, that I gotta give Bugsy props for, he gets Jason's mask off like it's nothing. Sometimes with the proper perks, even one good hit with a machete will demask Jason. It doesn't take a lot of knowledge to play Bugsy pretty well. Some of the best practices you can do are simply just take parts to the vehicles and drop them off in front of it. With his speed and stamina, he can get there pretty quickly and defend himself as well. If you're new to the game, Bugsy is a great option because you don't have to focus on fixing stuff. He can run pretty fast and he can dish out a good amount of damage. Yeah, use him to learn stuff, and then once you master the repair, ditch him pretty quick. Chad, the meme lord. The type of people who play Chad are the ones who will get in the 4-seater and basically just piss off, not bring anybody else with them, and just escape by themselves. Back in the day, Chad actually used to be pretty high up on the tier list until the rage buff was introduced, which made Jason unstunnable once he hit rage mode. Chad has the highest luck in the game, which makes it so that his weapons very rarely ever break at all. I've heard stories of armies of Chads armed with baseball bats that would roam Camp Crystal Lake and stun Jason to the point where he would just quit because he couldn't get anything happening. Chad's speed is great, it's at a 9. But what hinders him is his composure, which is only a 1. The composure stat affects a few things. First, it affects how fast you can break out of a grab. And secondly, it affects fear levels, how fast your counselor can be afraid. And as I said earlier, the counselors that are more afraid just perform worse. You know, their staminas suck here, and they trip a lot more on stuff. They're more easily spotted with Jason's red vision, the sense mode. Then if you pile on top of that, his repair isn't very good. It all starts to build up, and is why I ranked him lower in the C tier. He's just not as good as he once used to be. When you're playing Chad, you want to bully Jason. In the early game, Chad's still a good fighter, so that's when you want to make the most out of him, trying to escape quickly by helping your teammates repair the vehicle and defending them. Ever hear the old saying, he who grasps at everything obtains nothing? Well, that is Kenny. Kenny isn't very good, but he doesn't suck either. Kenny's skill sets are all 5, making him the most well-rounded character in the game, placing him right into the middle of our tier list. Kenny has great flexibility because he's average in everything. He can do just about everything. not very well, but he'll still help out. I don't have too much to say about Kenny because he's pretty self-explanatory. He's just, like I've been saying, basic at everything. With the proper perks, you can cater him more towards your own personal play style to make yourself more effective with him. Just because you have a lot of average skills doesn't mean you're a good character. There are a lot of other counselors above Kenny that have some stats that are lower than Kenny, but they still outperform him due to having those important skills up there in the 8, 9, 10 range. Kenny is as mediocre as they come.
Mediocre?
So there's that. The other any, not Kenny, it's Jenny. Jenny has a very good composure, a great luck, a decent stamina, stealth, and a kind of poor repair, strength, and speed. So first off, kind of a side note, it relates to Jenny with the composure and the luck being the two highest. So composure determines levels of fear and being able to break free from Jason's grip. On the contrary, if you're more afraid, you are more susceptible to fear's negative effects like the stamina thing, the poor vision, etc. So you can see how a character that is pretty much no fear at all can be so useful when their stamina doesn't take that drain from fear, and they are also not easily as sensed as other people. I'm not saying she'll never get afraid. She definitely will eventually, but it takes a lot more to do that. Another thing that I forgot to mention about fear earlier is you are more afraid if your counselor is alone as well. So if you're in groups, less fear. So she also has a decent luck skill as well. Luck, like I was talking about earlier, increases weapon durability. It can decrease the time it takes to start a boat or start a car too. And if you break free from Jason's grab and you have a higher luck, you'll regain more stamina from breaking free. Some things that luck does not do, it does not determine whether you're going to find something in a drawer, like a key item. Those are fixed. Those are just random. No character has an advantage to find those than the others. Also, luck doesn't mean you're going to stun Jason more than a counselor with a lower luck. That is solely determined on the weapon that you use. I'd say that Jenny's two best play styles are Cabin Looter and Driver. Jenny's composure makes her a great lone wolf counselor, so just searching houses by yourself and running all of the parts you find back to the vehicles or like the phone box. And when I said driver, I meant actually like the driver of the car or the pilot of the boat. With her high luck, there's no reason that she should not be the one getting behind the wheel because she can start the vehicles faster. Rounding out the C tier, at the top of the C tier, I've placed the Lady Slayer LeChappa. I think that LeChappa is the best of the mid-tier characters due to one reason, his repair being 10 out of 10, fantastic. His stealth is also high, which makes him very good for sneaking around early game. He is a great repairman. However, on the contrary, his biggest drawback has to be his speed and stamina. He is pretty slow and he can tire out really easily. And I think that he performs the best on smaller maps like Higgins Haven or Crystal Lake, and suffers a lot on the Jarvis House and Pinehurst. That 10 repair is so fast, vehicles can be fixed easily and stealthily before Jason will even know it, and your whole team will be on the road. One thing that I've struggled with playing as LeChappa is dealing with the bear traps that are placed, generally speaking, around the vehicles. It's kind of hard to deal with if you trip one of them and then Jason returns, because he's definitely not a fighter, he's more of a lover, and his strength is pretty poor. he can't run very fast, so you can see how that adds up right there. I think LeChappa can also be a good lone wolf character if you're by yourself, don't have a team, just going around fixing stuff, helping everybody else out. He's a simple man, cut and dry. That's basically all he can do. So, yep. Finally, we are getting into the better characters, starting off the B tier, Victoria. She has a very interesting combination of skills. A great stamina, stealth, luck, and pretty much just a mediocre everything else. I don't see her chosen very often, however, I think she has a lot of potential. With her stamina and stealth, I think she has contender to be the best or one of the best sweater girls in the game. If you couple her speed with her repair, which is only a 3, and I know what you're thinking, a 3, it's not very much, but it is definitely manageable once you get better at repair. 3 is not terrible, and I mean, it's not god-awful like a 1, but it's definitely manageable. I think she is perfect for being a distraction and also being a harasser. Her luck makes it that her weapons don't break very easily. She gets more hits out of them. She's stealthy, she has a lot of stamina, so you can see how that would be pretty annoying to deal with if you were trying to tunnel her and catch her.
Why won't you fucking die?
Next up, we have our hippie, free-loving Chong lookalike, Mitch. Mitch has big strengths in composure, repair, and stealth. Everything else is just kind of doo-doo. I'd say Mitch is the better version of LeChappa, sacrificing the repair for a little bonus in all the other skills. Mitch definitely fits the bill for a lone wolf repair character. He's not very good at fighting because his weapons don't last very long and his strength is lacking. But overall, he can hold his own pretty well. I think that Mitch is one of the more frequently played characters because his qualities really benefit a player that's not partied up. Kind of like myself. I don't normally play with teams, I just play by myself. If you're found as Mitch, it's pretty hard to get away. His stealth is less than desired, and if you've got someone like Part 4 on your tail, good luck, because of how fast he can chase you and break into buildings. Due to Mitch being so slow, it's really hard to get away, and he's not the best fighter, like I said. Next up, bros, we have Adam. Adam, dude. In my opinion, Adam is the best male non-Tommy counselor in the game. There's a lot of things I like about Adam. He has great strength, great composure, repair is pretty decent, his speed is pretty decent, and so is his stamina. He's pretty similar to Kenny in a lot of regards, but I think that these small improvements really set him apart from Kenny. Adam can fight, he can fix stuff, he can run pretty well. Just overall super solid character. That bonus strength makes him really good at helping with the demasking process, and his repair is, as you can see here, not terrible. I mean, it's definitely above average and pretty quick. Adam's also the type of guy who you would go camping with and he'd never bring shoes, and he wouldn't stop telling you about his trip to the Rocky Mountains with his dog. Now, I was feeling torn on who I was going to place at the top of the B tier. It was down to Adam and Fox, and Fox is very similar to Adam when it comes to stats and skills. They're pretty much identical. There's like one that's different or the opposite. So the reasoning I put Fox above Adam is the fact that she can pick up the sweater, which is a pretty important trait if you ask me. Fox is a very good counselor, strong, independent woman, you could say. Like Shelly and Tommy, her likeness is copied exactly from how she was in the movie. She was in Part 3 alongside Shelly. The actress who played her, Gloria Charles, unfortunately passed away in 2016. May she rest in peace. Although she's gone, they did make her a pretty badass character in the game, so there is that positive for her legacy. Like I was saying with Adam, Fox is also a really good fighter, good at taking the mask down, as well as helping fix all the vehicles, and she's got a decent speed and stamina to back it up.
Jason is killing us. We need your help.
Reaching the A tier, the upper echelon, we have Deborah. Now, I might be a little biased when it comes to Deb because when I first started playing the game, I pretty much played only as her for a really long time, just getting my bearings. But I'm going to give you the pros and cons and explain why I think she is not the best, but she is definitely top tier. So if we take a look at her skill tree, repair, stealth, phenomenal, 10 and a 9. Her strength is a 1, stamina, composure, luck, speed, those are all kind of meh. So she's a girl, she can pick up the sweater, her repair is phenomenal. She is a god-awful fighter. She cannot defend herself against anything, but if you can stay hidden, which is pretty normal with her, you can get a lot done. As long as you can stay hidden, you will be fine. The Deborah, her biggest struggle is going to be her speed, her stamina, and her ability to fight back. It's just not there. If some Jason is chasing you down, it's going to be really hard to fight back unless you have like firecrackers or a flare gun. And if you're running from Jason, you're not going to be fixing things because how are you going to fix stuff if he's constantly on your ass? But that is outshadowed definitely by her ability to just fly under the radar and get all of those parts fixed. If you played the game at all, you probably knew where this was going. So at the top, in the S tier, best of the best, we have Vanessa. Now there is a reason for every lobby that you join having 2 to 3 Vanessas. She is super strong. She is crazy fast, has almost perfect stamina, and she is such a great fighter too. Vanessa is good in just about any situation. Obviously, her being a female, she can pick up the sweater. She can run very fast. She has a luck that's okay, so her weapons don't break very often. And if you couple that with how fast she is so annoying to try and kill when you are Jason. Her repair is only a 2. However, as I've come to play more and more, kind of how I was saying with Victoria, I've gotten used to the terrible repair. 1 for a repair is pretty unforgivable, like with Bugsy, but 2, it's okay. It's what it is. Check out this sneaky phone repair. First, I hit the bear trap with the pocket knife. You'll notice the second trap he placed was a little far over. After so many hours as Vanessa, like I was saying, I got used to her repair. So 2, this is what a 2 looks like, a 2 repair. It's alright. It's not awful. It's not like Bugsy, but you will get used to it. I try not to focus on fixing things with her unless absolutely necessary. I use her to bring the parts to the vehicles and then have the other counselors fix them while I am defending them. I know that when I'm playing Jason, I will definitely prioritize eliminating the Vanessas as soon as I can due to the later half of the game not wanting to deal with them just because they are so frustrating. I'd say that Vanessa's biggest weakness, however, is how noisy she is. She's not sneaky. She is not a sneaky counselor at all. She is very easily detected, and that can get you into trouble because you could be following other people around and giving them away too. So kind of a double-edged sword. That's one thing about her that's I don't really like. We've finally made it to the top. My opinion, the best counselor in the game, besides Tommy, of course, it's AJ. Let's check out her skills. So her stealth, repair, and composure, very good. Luck is kind of lacking. Stamina and speed are, they're okay. One thing I didn't mention earlier about the counselors with 10 stealth, AJ being one of them, and the other one is Tiffany, they can jog silently. So, see how I'm jogging right here? The counselor is silent until you start to sprint. If Jason's close enough and you're sprinting, he will detect you. AJ, though, has an X factor. Now, I've been looking at a lot of information across a few different sources, and the general consensus is that if you have the Lightfoot perk equipped with AJ, and it's at least a 13% noise reduction or higher, so like an epic or a legendary perk, AJ will be silent when she's sprinting, so there will be no sound pings whatsoever. From my own experience, every time that I've used the perk in conjunction with AJ, I'm rarely ever found or messed with as a result. So I think that it is 100% true, and it sets AJ in her own class for that reason. And once you give a character invisibility like AJ does and give her a great repair like you can see here, that's what makes her into such a powerhouse. She's not all that fast, but her composure will make sure her stamina maintains its vitality. If I had to say a negative about AJ, it would be that she can't fight for shit. She can't really protect herself against Jason. She has 1 for luck and I think it was 2 for strength, so no, she won't be fighting back anytime soon. Besides that, as I've gotten up in the levels and have gotten closer to the hundreds, I've loved playing AJ. I think she is hands down the best character in the game next to Tommy. And at the very pinnacle is Tommy. Tommy is double S tier, cream of the crop. He has 10s all across the board, making him obviously the best character in the game for any situation. Not too much to talk about with him. His goal is to save the other counselors any way possible. You can apply him to any situation that I've said or discussed previously. Alright, so for the last part of the video, I haven't touched on them yet, but I want to go over perks. So perks are like they sound, they're just traits that you can randomly roll through the menu to attach to your character to give them special benefits and strengths, or even weaknesses sometimes. Some perks can turn lesser counselors into a lot more viable options, and some can make counselors that are already good even better. There are a lot of useless perks that you can get, like increased swim speed or doing more damage as Tommy, which is kind of just pointless, really. But there are a few that are key, or some that you definitely want to try and get early on, make your experience a lot better. Without a doubt, in my opinion, the most valuable perk that you can roll is thick-skinned. And what it does, it simply means you take less damage. So you can step on that trap and not be crippled, and you can take more swipes from Jason, etc. It's a pretty useful perk that buffs up every counselor. The next essential perk is Marathon, and Marathon increases your sprint. Lets you sprint for longer. So I slap that on about just every character. The ones that aren't very fast helps them out a lot, gives them a little extra boost to their stamina. There's just so many options you can go through. Like there's ones that'll increase the stun time on Jason, make the cops come faster, or increase your attack speed, anything you can really think of, repair speed. All of these perks have ranks as well, so there's a color order, and the higher tiered ones are the red color and the purple color. Those are the epics and legendaries. Those ones give you the best benefits, as well as some special bonus benefits on the legendary perks. A lot of perks also have a negative effect as well, so it's not all positive. For example, on the medic perk, the bonus is that you will get 2 sprays out of a med spray. However, you take more damage overall. One of the last crucial perks that I will touch on is Nerves of Steel. And what Nerves of Steel does is it keeps your mini-map intact if your counselor becomes afraid. Now, why that's so important, do you remember earlier how I was mentioning you can view Jason on your mini-map when he's shifting around and moving back and forth? Well, if your counselor gets afraid and the map kind of dissolves and you can't see it anymore, that's a lot harder to do, right? When I first got the perk, I didn't really think much of it, and then once I started to use it, I began to realize how important it is when you are being chased to keep an eye on Jason and his movements, so that way you can counteract him very easily. It's very useful. I recommend it. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you watched the whole thing, if you liked it, give it a like. If not, feel free to thumb it down. I finally got this done. It took me a really long time. I was procrastinating terribly, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching. This is your boy Turnip. I'll see ya.